So you know the top three layers. The fourth one is a very special name, Bilby. Bilby. I don't know, maybe this is the name of the scientist who discovered this, but Bilby layer or amorphous layer. Amorphous layer. You know from your material science that almost all metals in the world are crystalline in structure. Crystalline in structure. At the end of chapter 5, we told you one or two very advanced methods of manufacturing by which an amorphous form of a metal where crystals are not allowed to form, so it is amorphous, non-crystalline. So if there is that layer, right, if there is a non-crystalline layer, there is some area which is not, otherwise all the metal is crystalline in nature. So this we will not talk about too much. Then this work hardened layer. You see, whenever we produce something, we are using some manufacturing technique, right? We are using some manufacturing technique. There is machining being done. So some work is performed on the part. There is some forging being done, hammering and so on the part. So whatever manufacturing technique we are doing, some sort of work is being done on the material. And again, from your material science, you know, when you have the stress strain diagram, then there is a region called strain hardening, which means that if you apply some loads at room temperature which go into the plastic region and then you remove the load, then this straining of the material in cold condition or room temperature has increased the hardness and strength of the material. So work hardening, strain hardening are the same words. So some layer of the top surface, right, is strain hardened. So this layer, because of strain hardening, the grains, if you see, are longer and so on compared to this. The dia is smaller. If the dia is smaller, then Hall-Petch equation says that the strength will be higher. So that is why strain hardening or strengthening has happened here. The rest now is the general metal. So this is a very good idea that from the top of the material, whatever you have produced, if you go down inside towards the base material, then what are the different things there. With this very general idea of the different layers on the surface, now the texture or the roughness of the surface, right? You see, I keep on telling you that though we are doing science and engineering, it is not an English language class, but we keep on reminding you that communication, how we talk to others, how we write what we are thinking, verbal and written communication, this is critically important for any profession. Whether you are a teacher or professor, whether you are an engineer, whether you are a doctor, whether you are a businessman, your communication skills are a major part of you. And if your communication skills are good, then you have much more chance of going up quickly in your career, together of course with good knowledge of these subjects and so on. So why I am saying it is that your general English, you may be very good, you may be medium, you may be a little less than average right now. You know that feeling. Though after your Thanaviya, when you joined the university, you went through a full year of foundation program, full year, where there were lots and lots of courses of English language and communication. And you bypassed it, you went quickly into engineering only if your English was already good. So either it was very good or you took a lot of English courses. So by now you should be good. But the thing is that you can keep on improving it, right? So you should try to read your lecture notes and your book as much as you can so that your reading ability improves, and whatever homeworks and projects and so on are given where you have to write reports and long answers, You should try to do that very well so that your written communication becomes good. Wherever you have projects and so on where you can do PowerPoint type of presentations, you should learn how to do good PowerPoint presentations. That is another written communication. But when there is a PowerPoint presentation, then you also present it verbally, right? So during online sessions, during the class, in these project presentations, you should talk as much as you can. So all types of communication skills become improved. This is good for you. Now coming back, why all this happened in my mind? What prompted this? You see the word texture, roughness, you know, either something is smooth or something is rough. So the opposite to smooth is rough, right? Texture is normal English. Texture is normal English, right? It is a general word for surface quality. It is a general word for surface quality. What is the texture? You take a cloth, right? For example, you have a dishdash. You take the cloth in your hand. If it is very cottony, there will be some roughness. If it is very satiny, it will be very smooth. So you can feel the texture of the material by right, moving your fingers on the material. So that is texture. This is a good schematic diagram to tell you about texture features, right? A standard terminology and symbols used to describe surface finish or surface texture. So this is any part. This is any part. And you are showing the surface here, right? You are showing the surface here. Now, there is some defect on the surface. So there is a general word called flaw. Flaw, F-L-A-W, flaw. This is again general English. Flaw or defect is a general word. If there is anything wrong, for example, somebody character-wise is not good, you say his character is flawed, the character is defective, right? So they have used the word flaw from general English for any, right? That if here or here or here there is some special surface defect, then this is called a flaw. Then there is something called roughness, right? If you see roughness height, it is rough. It is not smooth, right? So there is this roughness, right? This is a small thing. So this is called roughness. If roughness is big, you can see waves on the surface, then it is called waviness, right? So roughness is normal roughness and waviness is large roughness, right? Roughness is on the surface, a very small size. But if the roughness is of large size, then you can see waves, like the waves on the surface of water. So it is now called waviness, right? So flaw is individual, only in one place or this place or that place. Roughness is overall on the whole surface, and waviness is overall on the whole surface. So these three, flaw is any surface defect on individual positions. Roughness and waviness is a general flaw pattern, roughness of a small size and waviness of large size. Roughness is spacing from one roughness height to the other roughness height. What is the spacing? Similarly, waviness width from one wave to the other wave, what is the size, right? And so on. Also, if for example here on this side there is some roughness, but on this side there is some height, but on the other side the height is low, so you are going from a higher height to a lower height on the same part because of waviness or roughness and so on. So then there is a direction to the roughness, direction from this direction to that direction, we say lay direction. The thickness is reducing or increasing in the lay direction because of roughness and so on, right? So here they are showing you that the surface profile, the overall way the surface is changing, there is some error of form, there is some waviness, and there is some roughness. Error of form means that the dimension that should have been there, because of there was some problem with the cutting or the depth of cut or the tool and so on. So there is some error in the geometry. Well, that is dimensional. But then there was some vibration going on, right? I was doing some machining on the surface, and on the road outside a heavy truck passed. So during the time that the heavy truck passed, there was a lot of vibration induced on my machine. So the surface that I was preparing, some area of the surface has more roughness than on the other, or there was some problem in the motor of the machine and some chatter or vibration started to happen. So there are different reasons why roughness was there, and if this roughness was of a very large size, then this was waviness. So roughness and waviness are because of vibrations during surface finishing. And error of form is that the surface preparation by the size of the cutting tool, by the depth of cut and so on, was not very accurate, right? So this is a general description of the different terms, terminology, and their meaning related to the surface of a product. So the same things that we just discussed, we are now writing more formally. Surface texture, random and repetitive deviations from the nominal surface, including roughness, waviness, lay and flaws. So a combination of all of this is called surface texture. Flaws or defects, random irregularities such as scratches, cracks, cavities, depressions, seams, tears, inclusions, which are not on the overall surface, which are only on individual locations. Lay or directionality, the direction of the predominant surface pattern, usually visible to the naked eye, that we are saying that waviness is increasing in this direction. So that is lay or directionality. Waviness, recurrent deviation from a flat surface, much like waves on the surface of water. Roughness, closely spaced irregular deviations on a scale is smaller than that for waviness. So as I said, right, roughness is a small type of waviness, or waviness is a large type of roughness, right? So these are the descriptions of the terms that you saw on the previous page. Now all of you have done one full course on engineering drawing, right? Engineering drawing. There are different chapters: sectional views, orthographic views, oblique views, right? And there is generally one chapter on production drawings. Production drawings, right? How do you make a detailed drawing? How do you make an assembly drawing? So, right, so that in the end, when you have finished the design of a product, then you give to the workshop the detailed drawings to manufacture each of the individual parts, and you give assembly drawings of how to assemble all the parts together. The assembly may be through nuts and bolts and so on, or maybe through gluing and chemical bonding, or maybe through welding, right? And we have told you in manufacturing processes about the assembly operations and so on. So when you do production drawings, the drawings that will be sent to the workshop and so on to produce the part or the assembly, then the portion on the final production drawings which are related to the surface, that how will you tell the manufacturing people of how much surface finish you want or how much surface roughness is allowed, then this type of symbols and so on are used, right? So common surface lay symbols used on technical drawings, technical production drawings, right? So this is just the symbols that you should know as a manufacturing production engineer.